Alright, this is going to be an Unreal Tournament 2004 movement tutorial. A lot of times when people think about movement in arena shooters, they think about movement characterized more by the Quake series, which is about like high speeds and high momentum carried over long distances using circle jumping, strafe jumping, and like bunny hopping. But that's not really how the movement in Unreal Tournament works. Unreal Tournament still has very fast gameplay, but its movement is less about carrying high speed over long distances, and it's more about short controlled bursts of high speed over shorter distances. So I'm going to show you how to use the movement systems of Unreal to unlock their true potential, right? Move around like the pros. So the first thing you'll notice is we've got a double jump. You have to time your double jump though at the apex of your jump. If you just spam the key as fast as possible, you'll get it, but you know, you can't double jump early, and if you wait too long while you start falling, you can't get a double jump. So make sure to time your double jump at the apex of your jump. The second thing you'll notice we have is a dodge move. Double tap in any direction, and you dodge in that direction. Keep spamming, and there's a bit of a cooldown on it. So our dodge sends us airborne, meaning that you can dodge and double jump. Well, that's pretty cool, right? It looks like that makes us go faster than running. But we're not just gonna forward dodge all over the place. And if we forward dodge and or if we move forward and side dodge, we're zigzagging all over the place. So what we're gonna do is combine our double jump dodging with our movements and offset our camera so that we can dodge in a straight line while continuing to move. So you do something like this. Run forward, 45-degree angle, dodge, jump. Run forward, 45-degree angle, dodge, jump. Just like that. This right here is the core maneuver and the fundamental aspect to moving quickly in Unreal Tournament. And it's pretty easy to do. Practice it for about 5 minutes or so, and you'll have this down pat. You won't ever fuck it up, probably. It's very simple to do. Unreal has a very accessible skill floor when it comes to its movement systems, but they've still got a lot of uses, and there's a lot of finesse that goes into using them that still gives the game a very high skill ceiling to its movement. Some people prefer to dodge using a strafe key in W and then double jumping. And some people prefer to use the W key and then dodge in the according direction with their strafe keys. I prefer to walk forward and then dodge with my strafe keys, but if you prefer to strafe and then dodge forward with W, nothing wrong with that. It's personal preference. Figure out which one you like more and give it some practice. You'll pick it up very fast. So now that you understand the core way to move quickly in Unreal Tournament, let's talk about the other applications for our dodging. See slopes like this, where it's a nice flat slope, but it's too steep to walk up, too high to jump up. What are we gonna do here? Well, if you dodge into these, you slide right up them. Dodge and jump into them, and you slide right up them even faster. Using slopes like these and our dodge move, we can go up on certain parts of the map where we can't, where there's no elevator or jump pad. So rather than having to slowly walk up ramps like this to come all the way around to get up here, we can just use slopes to slide our way up and then continue to do our dodge jumping to get all around the map to go wherever we want to go nice and quick. So the other thing you've probably already realized, but I'll show you anyway, is that dodge jumping is also used to cover large gaps like this. Because as you'll see, our double jump can't make this jump. So when you want to cover large gaps like this, you also want to dodge jump right across the gap, just like that. Exact same thing we did on the ground to move quickly, except now there's a hole below us. So it looks scarier, but it's fundamentally the exact same thing we did earlier, using our dodge and our run to cover long distances like this. And this is why when you see Unreal players, you'll see them constantly dodging and jumping around like this, covering these large distances, and this is how a lot of the traversal of the game is going to go. Dodging all over the place to get your weapons, get your power-ups, and then covering gaps with your dodge jump. Now, that might seem like that's all there is to it, but there's a few more aspects to the movement in Unreal that I can talk about. We'll go into, this is like level 2 movement now. So the next mechanic we'll talk about is wall jumping. If you dodge when you're next to a wall and airborne in the opposite direction of the wall, you will double jump off the wall. Like so. You can do it in all directions. You can also double jump after jumping off a wall, just like grounded dodging. This means that instead of just doing a grounded dodge and a jump, you can do a jump air dodge off a wall, and double jump, meaning that we can actually get even more distance than just a jump double jump if there is a wall nearby. This will also make you a bit of a harder target to hit for your opponents, because once you start playing against good players, they'll see you dodge and they'll go, oh, okay. Like, good players will start to realize how far dodge, like, distances are, and if you dodge from, like, here to here, they'll see you dodge here, and they'll just be like, oh, okay, I already know where he's gonna land, and they'll just go here, bam, shoot you. Or they'll see you dodge, and they'll just fire a shot combo, and now you're taking big damage. So while the dodge lets you move fast, it's a very high commitment move, and good players will start to read it, so you gotta be careful about that. Wall jumping allows you to stay a bit more unpredictable. That's really all there is to it. Just get used to doing your wall jumps, get used to doing your grounded dodges, and practicing going up slopes, and you're playing Unreal. That's how you move around fast in Unreal. Another thing about Unreal, though, is something that was popularized in games like Quake, rocket jumping. It wouldn't be an arena shooter if there wasn't rocket jumping, right? Except there isn't rocket jumping, really. You take a lot of damage when you jump with rockets, and you really don't go much higher than a double jump. That's kind of pathetic, right? Well, there is a kind of rocket jumping in Unreal, but it's done with your shield gun instead of your rocket launcher. The shield gun is your melee weapon with an alt fire that blocks shots, and a primary fire that melees people when you charge it up. This charged up melee attack, though, can be used aimed at walls and on the ground to boost you to go very high. Charge it up, and just like a rocket jump, aim at the ground and jump. You can aim it at the ground and jump, and double jump as well, like so, to get a little more height. As you've seen, though, you take a lot of damage doing this, so it's not the most practical of techniques. Whereas in Quake, you can rocket jump all over the place. You can get up to 400 health in Quake and then rocket jump all over the place if you want to, because you take half damage from rocket jumping, from your rockets when you rocket jump. In this game, your health on most maps where there isn't a big keg of health generally cannot go as high. Your armor will max out at 150, and your health will generally max out at about 100, unless you're playing on a map with a keg of health. So rather than having 400 health and rocket jumping around, you kind of will usually max out at about 250-ish health, and you take a pretty sizable amount of damage from the shield gun. So when is it practical to shield gun jump? And you can take a little bit less damage by not charging it, just by tapping and jumping. When is this practical, though? When would you ever want to shield jump if you take so much damage and there's really never a reason to use it in a game where hit scans are so prevalent? Well, I'm going to shield jump up here, right? And then wait, you just get shotgun again. Now you look stupid. Shield jumping is good to use in an area where you know you would take more damage if you did not shield jump. So let's say we come down here on Refinery and I grab the armor because I want my 100 armor. But my opponent is sitting somewhere around here at the top of this pit, and they're waiting for me to come out. They're firing rockets down. They're throwing shot combo balls down. If I try to go up this ramp, I am fucking dead. But I could just shield jump out the back of the pit. I lose 10 armor, lose 10 health, sure. But that's way less health than if I tried to run up that ramp, which is the only other way out. So while shield jumping is generally not going to be as practical and used as widespread as rocket jumping would be used in Quake, it is still a good thing to know how to do on a basic level, although you probably won't be using it all that much. Another technique we'll talk about is elevators. Elevators go up, you get off them, they go down. But if you jump when an elevator is going up, you will get a lot of height because you will maintain your jump momentum and add the elevator speed to your jump height. Generally, what you want to do here, you don't want to jump too early because then you won't go as high as you like, but you don't want to jump too late because then you've lost all the jump height. So you want to try to jump when the elevator's right about to reach the top, but it hasn't stopped moving at its full speed yet, and that'll allow you to do... Okay, I didn't expect to come up that fast. That'll allow you to go up and reach jumps like this. Just like that, to go real high. Oftentimes, there's going to be high platforms like this placed near elevators because they are designed with this kind of jump in mind. So elevator jumping probably takes the most timing out of all the other jumps I talked about, because there is a lot of places where you can jump, and sometimes you just can't get high enough and you have to double jump to finish your jump off. But keep in mind, you can elevator jump just like that. And that is all of the fundamentals of Unreal Movement, I think. We've got dodge jumping on the ground, We've got dodge jumping for distance to go across gaps. We've got wall jumping. We've got going up ramps. And we've got shield jumping and elevator jumping. I'll give you one bonus movement tip, though. And this bonus movement tip is very impractical. I'll just do it to show you that because it's kind of cool. But you very, very likely won't use this. So don't look at this last movement thing and think, oh, I gotta learn how to do that. This one's very impractical. It's just kind of fun to do. And this is shield jumping for distance. So if you charge your shield gun way up and you walk backwards into a dodge, instead of walking forwards and doing a dodge, and you fire it at an angle at the ground, you can go really far with your shield gun. Now you combine that with a double jump and you can go even further. Again, it's pretty cool, but not very practical. You might see it in like frag videos of some guy like capturing a flag and he's showing off and jumping over big pits using it, but keep in mind you take a lot of damage when you do that. If you try to get too fancy and do this, you might be humbled when you're playing a game of capture the flag and you think you're slick jumping over a pit. Meanwhile, you've just lost like 40 HP and some guy's gonna finish you off with a lightning gun, making you feel a fool. So cool technique, not very practical, and that's the last thing you gotta know. That is the basics of Unreal Tournament movement. It's got a much lower skill floor than Quake's movement because it's a lot easier to pick up rather than having to learn how to strafe jump and circle jump. All you gotta know how to do is tap a direction and jump. Very simple, very easy to pull off, but it still has a very fulfilling and rewarding skill ceiling that comes with the nuance and finesse of all the different ways you can use this movement to get where you want to go and be a harder target to hit for your opponent. So, yeah, that's all there really is to it. Thanks for watching.